Welcome to the Ear for Fear podcast, the horror movie podcast that boils and ghouls and dead alike are screaming for. Don't be afraid to listen as Rick and the Creeps bore their way into your brains, slither down onto your arteries, into your still beating hearts.
Hi, welcome to the Ear for Fear podcast. This is the podcast that talks about scary movies or movies trying to be scary. I'm Rick, and joined by the Creeps. I got Darren, I got Morris in the house today.
Yep.
So today is a little different. We're not going to be doing a movie review, but we're just going to be doing more of a retrospective over the last. I guess this is the 75th episode. So the previous 74, we thought it would be kind of cool to get together and I don't know, talk about some of the stuff that we like to as the podcast is kind of developed, and so so that's what we're doing. Hopefully you guys enjoy this episode. So anyways, thanks for coming out, you guys. Kind of felt it was what is the 75th anniversary? Is that like a diamond? Is it we call this the?
Oh my God, man! I
thought
it was a machete.
Is it a machete?
I thought it was.
I think the only reason I know this, and this is dumb, but I think the NBA is celebrating their 75th, season, and I remember them having like a diamond, so I assume it's diamond.
You're probably right.
I think the 100th anniversary is an alien facehugger.
Is it an alien facehugger?
Yeah,
but 75 is a diamond.
Yeah.
So we'll call this will be our diamond episode.
It's a diamond episode. Sure.
A diamond episode.
Why
But I thought it'd be kind of nice just to us talk about maybe some of the stuff that that our listeners don't know about, stuff that maybe episodes that we had to re-record and bloopers and what goes into each episode.
Oops, that was me.
Music and I think at first, before we kind of, I don't know. I mean, we have a few things that we kind of thought we'd talk about, but originally when I decided to do this, the idea initially was, Donovan and I, and Donovan hasn't been on it in a bit, was that it would be kind of a cool little father and son thing for him and I to do. I love horror movies. Donovan likes horror movies. He just likes movies. I think movies, TV, anything to do with that sort of media in general, he loves. He went to school and got his degree in film history, so he has kind of a love and a passion there. And so when we first kind of started this journey, it was, him and I would do a lot of episodes, and you guys would come on and kind of, as guests and stuff. And then as this thing had matured, he kind of left, and then, you guys basically joined, and that's kind of the origination of it. I mean, I love horror movies. I've loved them since I was a kid. I found that we were always talking about movies, and I'm like, well, why don't we record this? I thought it'd be kind of fun and cool, and and then, I mean, I've known you two for nearly 30 years. So it was kind of a no-brainer to have you both on. I mean, so.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, you had mentioned that you wanted, it was sort of this idea of like a father-son thing to do, whatever. I have kind of a similar story with, both of my daughters. When they were younger, they started to show kind of an interest in guitar. They were showing an interest in kind of the music part, and that's such a big part of who I am.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I had this pie in the sky idea that it's like birds are in the air and little butterflies and everything is just awesome. And I've got these two little girls, they're my girls, and and they're all into the music thing. And then, it's going to be this kumbaya moment where I'm going to be able to sit, and then we're going to go on tour like the Partridge Family. And, it's like this whole thing built up in my head. And then it just really didn't turn out that way at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like they dabbled in it for like a year or so, but what occurred, which I found interesting at the time, I was not okay with it. But in hindsight, I get it. That was more just my thing,
Yeah.
That wasn't necessarily their interest. I mean, it was they're experimenting with what their interest is, and they got to a point where they're like, not really into doing this. Don't really want to do this, and they didn't know how to, cause I was so gung ho and wanting to do it. They didn't really know how to tell me they didn't really want to do it. And so we went through this little period of kind of butting heads, and until I finally had to come to the realization that, my dreams don't necessarily equate to their dreams, and so all you can really hope for is that they go on. Occasionally, maybe they'll go on, your journey with you, but they've got to deviate off too. And I suspect that was probably a little bit of what occurred with you and Donovan. Perhaps
I think so. And I enjoyed the episodes we did together. I thought Donovan was fantastic. He didn't think he was, and I'm like, I don't know what you're listening to, because I thought when Donovan was engaged and because of his knowledge when it comes to just this media as a whole, I thought he had a lot to bring to the table, and he just didn't feel that way. And that's okay. That's okay. Yeah. I mean, I did, like you said, Darren, I struggled with it for a little bit because I really wanted it to be something that, because I thought he was really good at it, and he has different kind of ideas and takes on stuff that I just didn't even think about. And so it was cool, but it's just, it kind of ran its course, and it's okay. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
I no ill will, no hard feelings. I occasionally at times go, hey, you ready to do like an episode, or you want to just come in and say hi? And
now let me ask you this. Would you have still done the podcast had he right out of the gate said, hell no, Dad ain't doing that shit?
Ooh, I don't know, because we had talked about it. Because
at that time, Morris and I were really not, we weren't really in that picture.
Yeah.
That was really a you and a Donovan thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess if it was like an episode or two in and he was just like, no, then I don't know. Maybe because I enjoy doing it. So I probably would have I guess it would have just been earlier on. I said, hey, you guys, Donovan's decided to bow out.
Yeah.
Would you guys like to do it? So, it's just, I don't know, maybe it was always inevitable, and it just happened a little later, I guess, than sooner. And I'm totally fine with that.
But in any event, you can call those episodes the vintage episodes.
The vintage episodes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Dead Alive episode.
Working stuff out.
The Dead Alive episode.
Hated that episode.
Yeah.
Not for you guys. I mean, you guys were fine. The freaking movie.
So for those who don't know, early on, Darren he would watch the movies if he hadn't seen them, so he can kind of get a feel for the movie, and maybe he just wanted to watch it, or just to kind of the route of the music of how you wanted to take the music.
Well, I had to, especially if it was a movie I hadn't seen. I have to get a vibe for it,
and then also the editing.
And the editing,
and Darren hated Dead Alive.
Oh Jesus,
he hated it. There's really two that Dead Alive and Feast. He hated, y'all.
For very different reasons, and I mean, if anybody gives a crap, they can go back and listen to those episodes, and you'll know.
Yeah, you did not like those.
Yeah.
I get your, and I've always said this. I understand why. It doesn't mean I still like the movies, and I find some entertainment value in them.
Sure.
But I do get, because Dead Alive is a crazy over the top movie.
Yeah.
Feast to me is just kind of a campy, but some of the stuff that I remember in the episode that you called out, I have to agree. Like the scene where the thing is like skull screwing one of the victims, and I'm like, that's just not. It was just not necessary.
Yeah.
Sometimes they take stuff over and they go over the top.
They do. Yeah. See, where I think my love for horror movies, I can really take the gamut. I love very serious ones. I love really campy. I love even some shitty ones. This about me.
Oh, you do. You like some shitty movies.
But there's some movies that, there's some really low budget ones that I can't get into. But yeah, Dead Alive, Feast, I have a blast with them because I know where to put them. I know how to accept them. because I know that they're not, I can enjoy them in different little categories in my head.
So it's interesting because, so Darren had never seen them.
Right.
So it's hard. And I don't want to tell him anything about it. So it's, a movie you've seen, say 10 times. Yes. But you've seen it the one time and,
right.
And it's.
So let me ask you guys, how old were you when you guys first saw Dead Alive?
Oh shit! I saw Dead Alive. I think Morris and I saw it together.
Oh,
but
I actually rented it when I was dating Denise, and I brought it over to her apartment.
So we're talking about a couple of decades ago.
Yeah. So that would have been early 90s,
92 or 93.
So I saw it with him, but at a different time.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was the first time I'd seen it.
The reason I'm saying this is because you two were in a very different headspace when you were first introduced to that movie.
Yeah.
You were in your your 30s, right?
No, I was 24.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So think about the 24-year-old you.
Yeah.
If I had seen that movie at age 24, I would have embraced it way, way more. Okay. So now I believe that a person's like for a movie really is rooted in the time period that they've seen it.
Yeah.
So you need to understand, I came at that movie as an old ass man.
Yeah.
Not old for the earth, but you know what I mean?
Older.
Older.
Seasoned.
Right? So and so that movie right out of the gate didn't resonate.
Yeah.
Now the 24-year-old me probably would have had it. And so had I watched that movie at 24 and then fast forward 30 years.
Right.
And we do a podcast on it, I think I would have had it very different.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see, like, I tell Morris this all the time is as I've gotten, like when I was the younger Rick, I could watch a lot of gore, the slashers of the,
like the visceral aspects.
Yeah.
Of it.
I had no issues with them. As I've gotten older, I can still watch some gore. Yeah. But some gore, I have an issue with.
Yeah.
Well,
there's some that are more visceral, where they're more realistic. And then there's campy gore. Campy gore would be like Terrifier. We were talking about Terrifier.
But see, Terrifier, we were just chatting about this yesterday. Terrifier was, and I thought the movie was okay. I didn't like it, I think, as much as other people.
Dead Alive is campy gore too.
Yes, but see, Terrifier, I didn't feel it was campy.
Oh, really?
No, I didn't get that impression with. I now watched the one time. I didn't feel it was campy.
It's not as campy as, say, like an Evil Dead 2 or a Dead Alive, but it doesn't. I don't take it very serious.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe I have to give it another watch. To me, like a Hostel. To me, I can't do stuff like that.
Yeah, a Hostel or a Serbian film.
Yeah, like, we talked about Martyrs, which I still haven't seen, but you think it's
like, even the Saw. The torture stuff, I have a hard time with.
I would agree. Yeah. I don't, because I don't think Saw is trying to be campy.
No, well,
they're not.
No. The funny thing is, the first Saw is very visceral, real, but it was never really bloody, And then they took this this whole element of making like torture porn movies. But the very first Saw is actually well done. And it's the only one
James Wan.
Yeah, it's the only one directed by James
Wan. Yeah. And so, I think again, our tastes, they change, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Gore for me anymore. It's like, I can't, I don't know what the limit is.
Yeah.
But I
so to my point, we could argue that a lot of those early 80s slasher films are kind of shitty. They're really not, comparatively speaking to like a Dead Alive thing.
Oh yeah.
They're no more or less great movie making.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
No.
But I love them more because I saw them in my teens.
Exactly.
Like, right? I mean, like,
and to take to your point, that because I saw them at an early age, and I have that aesthetic appreciation for them when I was a kid.
Yeah,
that you take that with you.
Yeah, you take. It's like music that you grew up with.
Exactly, it becomes a nostalgia. It's part of your nostalgia.
It was like Sleepaway Camp. Oh my god! Like I remember seeing it as a kid, and I remember liking it. And then when you and I did it,
damn! I wonder if that movie's the only exception.
It was so friggin' bad.
It was bad.
It was so bad. And I know Morris can tolerate a lot more than say you and I. And he still enjoys the movie.
I still enjoy it. I know the acting shit
And I know why you enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I do, and I respect that. But I just, there was just stuff I forgot about.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the pedophile stuff, the fake mustache stuff, the horrible.
Okay,
oh my God.
So, Rick, what I can tell you about that was that it took the 52-year-old version of me to even notice the cop in his mustache.
Yes, I never noticed him.
20-something-year-old me didn't.
Dude, I didn't either. I didn't either.
Isn't that hilarious? Like what you're willing to either ignore or just not.
Oh, so this is a funny time to bring this up, but I just want to let you know as a present to both of you, I just bought tickets. We're all going to go see Sleepaway Camp. It's going to be at the Colonial Theater in 2 months, and we're going to see it with Felissa Rose.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah. No, I'm joking, but it is being.
That's hilarious.
It is going to be there.
I will say this, and we said this in the episode. She was great.
Oh, yeah.
She was great.
Yeah.
She was great in the movie.
She was the best part of that movie.
She was the best part of the movie. She was great when we met her. She was super nice.
God,
super nice and engaging.
Absolutely.
And I keep saying this. Yep. If anyone ever has a chance to go meet her, please do.
Meet her.
Yeah, she's
a sweetheart.
She is a sweetheart. But other than that, and the ending.
Yeah.
The ending, it was cool. I didn't see it coming, and it still gets me, and it's creepy and weird. And but again, it's like you're watching that movie through the lens of, I think I watched it when I was a teenager for the first time.
Yeah. I had to have been like 14 or 15.
And then watching it again, it's just like
19.
It just doesn't hold up.
Yeah.
And there's movies that like the slashers, man, most of them weren't great, but I still enjoy them. I still enjoy them. I know they're not awesome movies like My Bloody Valentine or Hell Night. I mean, I still enjoy them, but look, if we're comparing them to, say, I don't know, Hereditary, it's just no comparison.
No.
But they're different movies, and they came in at different times when, so yeah.
Well, so circling back around, we were talking about Donovan doing, where it started.
Yeah.
Just wanted to keep on track.
Yeah. I was thinking about this. 74 episodes. Any episodes that may stand out for you guys that I can think of a few in my head that I think either good or bad. I mean, I don't, any ones, Morris, what about you? Any one episode, whether it was ones that you were a part of or maybe you weren't a part of that.
Well, I think I was mentioning to you yesterday, I really enjoyed you and Darren talking about Relic.
Yeah.
And the thoughts of growing older and Alzheimer's and just really delving deep into that kind of conversation. I enjoyed listening to that and hearing what you guys' thoughts were on that.
Well, it's interesting because didn't you, Rick? You were talking with me about that. I think it was probably after the fact, and that you sort of felt like, God, we barely talked about this.
I did. After it was over, I was like, I don't think we really talked a lot about the movie. But then at the same time, I had a feeling it was going to go that route because it was the movie itself, and then just the theme of the movie really kind of hit home with me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and so I was kind of emotional during that episode.
Yeah,
and. When it was all said and done, and I re-listened to it, I'm like, we really didn't talk about it. But I was like, well. And I want this to sound bad, but it's like, well, it's kind of our podcast, and I felt at the time like it was warranted.
Yeah,
like I
if it feels right.
I didn't know how else to kind of go about that episode.
We sprinkled stuff in. It wasn't as though we said, here we got this relic. Okay, and we're done talking about that. Let's
let's talk about.
we did sprinkle stuff in.
We did. I think people would get the gist of the movie
like that. Cannot be talked about, unfortunately. I mean, if you can talk about it at its surface,
right,
which they did film it in a way that did lend itself to the possibility of some demon that right,
something. Yeah.
So we could have simply gone at face value.
What's funny is, speaking of that, that theme of growing old, and I think I was talking with you, Rick, about this. There's a lot of those movies now, like Relic, that are our society's way of just bringing that to the forefront of that thought of getting old, especially us now middle-aged men.
Yeah,
it's a fear for our generation.
Yeah.
Because now, the baby boomers are the ones that are old now. They're all in their, 70s and late 60s, but we're right behind them being Gen X.
Mm-hmm.
And man, there's so many movies. There's The Satyr, there's The Manor, The Taking of Deborah Logan, obviously even Hereditary in some aspects.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, even X that we saw in the theater not that long ago.
Yes, I would agree with you.
Just, people just really dreading getting old and dealing with that and the horrors that deal with that.
You guys turned 50 before I did.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are a couple years older than me. And I know I was giving you guys shit. And of course it was all in good fun. And as soon as I turned 50, I kind of felt bad.
She got real.
And I kind of felt bad for giving you guys crap, even though we know you guys know me forever.
Sure.
It was with love. But yeah, it got real. Like I felt completely different.
I don't know how you guys feel about this, but like throughout my life, I've always rolled my eyes to this whole idea of midlife crisis.
Mm-hmm.
That's a real fucking thing.
No, it is.
I'm sorry, it really is because when we're all mortal, and as you start to approach, look, we're at the 50-yard line, maybe even the 75-yard line, because if the average age span is
that's true.
So the majority of the life's been lived. So it causes a period of reflection.
Oh, definitely. And mortality.
And based on where you're at mentally and emotionally in your life at that period of time is going to determine how much of a midlife crisis you have.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you with what we've been, I'm not going to put a word on it, but what we've been dealing with for the past 2 years, I think you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That accompanied with turning 50, yeah, that really messed with me. And I still struggle daily with it. I'll be honest. It made me question a lot of stuff. Just a lot of stuff. Like where I am with, it's like, I would never change anything. I don't have any regrets. I wouldn't change anything, but I'd be lying if I just said I'd think about stuff like, what if I had done this or maybe have done that? Again, I don't regret it, but I sometimes think about it, and I don't think, and I think at our age, I don't think it's ever too late for us to do something different.
Right.
I don't think there is. I know there's a lot of successful people, whatever that is, however you define success. They've done it at an older age. It comes to mind. Rodney Dangerfield, it took him like a long time to become who he was. Right. He was in his maybe 50s or something before he, so it's something that we could do. And so I think about it all the time, sure. But that one, Relic was a good one.
So for me, High Tension. Was one that stands out for me. And I think not necessarily because we were doing anything groundbreaking on the pod. We somehow, I don't know, just clicked and were saying things that were just, godly or anything. It was just, I really like that fucking movie.
Yes. It's a good movie. Yeah, it's a great movie. Yeah.
Yeah. And
and then you didn't know.
Oh God, no.
I didn't either, which pisses me off because I feel like I'm pretty good at that. I had no friggin' idea that she was, it was like the split personality thing. It was done well. Who was the director on that, Morris? The French. Shit, I can't remember his name. He's a French director. Ari. Shit, I can't remember. But anyways, he did a great job with that.
Andre Aja?
Something like that. Something like that. Yeah. To me, I don't know. I'm trying to think, like going back. Carrie was a good episode that Morris and I did because we delved in a little bit of the religion, which we seem to have done in a few episodes, right?
Just really talking about religion and maybe religion being like a state of where you are mentally, maybe and the history of religion. Maybe it's just, people dealing with their own mental state. And maybe that, people thinking about that as, maybe that's how they came up with their gods, and or God.
No, I think, let's see, I'm trying to think of, okay, I'll share this with the listeners. The Invisible Man. Donovan and I did that. And this is a little behind the scenes. Donovan was, when we sat down to record, he wasn't in the best of moods. Let's just put it that way. I don't know.
Oh, did he inherit that from his father?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like the nicest guy all the time.
All the time.
I'm never in a bad mood. I don't hold grudges. I don't know. I never get bitter. I don't know what you guys are.
All right, Mr. Grumpy Pants.
But he at the time he just wasn't in a. I don't know. Maybe it was just the timing. And we started recording Invisible Man, and yeah, within maybe 10 to 15 minutes, I stopped it. And I'm like, yeah, this isn't working, because he just wasn't engaged. He was in a weird mood. And so I stopped it.
Yeah.
And then him and I chatted a little bit, got into his head a little bit, what was going on. And we took a little break. And then a couple hours later, we went back and recorded Invisible Man, and it came out phenomenal. Like, honestly, I think it was one of my favorite episodes. And so it was just something as simple as taking a break and coming back to it. And, that was one that kind of stood out for me.
So if I talked to Donovan, would he say that you stuck him in the corner for like 10 minutes?
I don't know what Donovan. He would
you go out there and mow the lawn, goddammit.
He would probably, I don't.
You're all making him do a bunch of chores.
No, it wasn't like that.
You keep washing my underwear until you have a better attitude.
I think at this age, I don't think I could get him to do chores. But that one kind of stood. The They Live episode, I was going back.
Oh yeah.
So I'll tell you why the They Live episode was. And this was completely unintentional. It was not intentional. Is where I was talking about how when you grew up and you were doing, rap and the music and stuff, and how it was kind of like rebelling against the man.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of, it was like this flow into the movie, and it was, I didn't plan it. It's just something I thought about. That was a kind of cool transition of but I'm trying to think what else. I don't know if any other episodes. I mean,
I like the Halloween one.
Yeah.
I know, it's an original Halloween, the four of us. Yeah.
The four, that was fun. That was like, was that the first time we ever did four of us, right?
Yeah.
We had Jake on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one was
that in Hereditary.
Those were great episodes. I mean, great movies, great episodes. I mean, I don't know. Any other ones you think of?
I can think of right now, not off the top of my head.
I'm trying to think like, okay,
Nightmare Elm Street was good.
Nightmare Elm Street was good. Phantasm. I mean, there's some really good.
Yeah, the Phantasm one. Damn.
That one was
you remember
long.
that?
Yeah, so that one was a long. That was.
It was. Do you remember? It was. I think the first one I did with you.
You did,
and he showed up with like an almanac of notes.
He did. He did. I was like, what the hell, dude? He had pages upon pages, and I think that was that our longest episode of like 2.5 hours.
Oh, wow.
I think that was a 2.5 hour episode. Yeah.
It was your fault.
No, that was on you, Mr. Note Taker.
Hey, Darren wanted to be prepared.
He did. Well, this is the thing. When we started this 2+ years ago, none of us had done this.
No,
we were trying to work out all the kinks.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember the first episode Donovan and I did, which was Happy Birthday to Me. The audio wasn't great. We did it in my office. And then after that one, we moved it downstairs. But then Night of the Creeps was the second episode. And for some reason, I think the episode came out great, but my audio was not good. Something happened, and we had to work through all the glitches and get to where we're at.
Yeah.
And it took time.
I think you're just fine-tuning everything.
Fine-tuning. We're still fine-tuning.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's how you evolve, right? You just kind of, I mean, I don't know, like on the stuff I post on, say, Instagram, I find myself fine-tuning that stuff all the time. Like, I mean, I think when you become complacent, right? And don't want to become complacent.
Right.
But I mean, the intro, it started out with Jake. Jake did the intro.
Yeah.
And
that was an evolutionary process right there.
And then we went into that second intro that Darren had done.
Yeah.
And I liked it, but we felt like, I don't know, we could just do something that I never felt, even though I loved that second, and I loved all the intros. Don't get me wrong. I felt that it really didn't capture who we were.
Well, but remember though, the plan at that time was to every few months was to create a new intro.
True.
And so that second one was just the next evolutionary step in that plan we had.
Yes.
Okay.
True.
So then now with the intro that we currently have, at least until you tell us otherwise, I'm expecting a whole different intro at some point down the road.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I mean, it could get where I just get bored of it or tired of it. I don't know. I love this. Like this one is definitely, it feels like more us.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
and then the fact that, we talked about this. We had written, this was funny. We can share this with the listeners. We had written a script. And it was something we were going to have John Kassir from Tales from the Crypt. You can hire him and he can do like a little thing. And I thought it would be kind of cool that we could use it as our intro. Well, then I come to find out no, because it's basically copywritten. So I pay a company that hires John Kassir to do this, but
Cameo,
Cameo, and then we can't really use it. Like, it's cool. Like, I think what it's made for is almost like a gift to someone, like say Morris's birthday was coming up and I hire someone to do like something. I send it to Morris and he has it for a gift. I think that's what it's for, really. But
it's kind of lame though, when you think about it, because Rick, I paid for it. The damn thing.
Yeah. Yeah. We wrote it. And he had the script and he basically said it and came out phenomenal.
Yeah.
But I also paid for it. And I was like, well, why can't I use something that I paid for?
Yeah.
And so then what we did was, we're like, we wrote the script. We love what it says. So then one day, I think we had finished. Did we finish recording like
an episode?
I think we were finished recording Yummy.
Okay.
Because that was the day we had recorded a few episodes, and I thought we finished Yummy or maybe Severance or something. And I remember Morris you had your asthma was acting up.
Oh,
so you had a little bit of a raspy voice.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, here's the stuff we wrote. I think it took 1 or 2 recordings.
Yeah.
And then I sent it over to you, and Darren put I'm like, damn, this shit came out like really good.
More. Yeah, you did an amazing job on that shit.
Thanks.
Yeah, you did as good a job as him. So it's like, screw him.
Well, I did. I think I wanted to do my own
It wasn't John Kassir's fault. So let's be clear. It wasn't his.
Screw the company that
yes. And because John Kassir, did we meet him at Sinister Con a few years back?
We did.
And he was very nice. So I'm going to say it wasn't him. It was just, he probably has some sort of an agreement with Cameo. And so, so if anything, it's whatever. It's whatever. Look, I love what happened and I think it's great. So, and we did it all on our own. So there you go. But what he did was pretty cool. I will have to say it was pretty cool. That was kind of the evolution of the intro, and that's where we're at right now. And man, maybe we change it again down the road, but I love where it's at. Music. I think we've talked about this. Darren does all the music for all the episodes.
All the nuances and sound effects too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And all of those have come out fantastic. And there's such a broad range of types of music because what happens, and I put restrictions on Darren because it's like, well, we know the music in the episode is only going to be maybe 15 to 20 seconds, but Darren, when he creates the music, he can't just be handcuffed like that. So there's a lot of unused music out there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just, it's hard to develop when you have 15 seconds of time. It's hard to develop a musical concept that goes anywhere in 15 seconds. So I often have to write and compose this stuff, for way longer than 15 seconds. It's usually like a few minutes. And then what you're hearing is a snippet. Usually it's the intro snippet, because I try my best to start to get somewhere like early enough, like within the first 5 seconds, I'm trying to start elevating it, to a place.
Yeah.
And then, but then we have to cut it. Yeah. So it's usually faded out.
And then, it has to transition. And when, if let's say it's a movie that by chance, maybe you haven't seen, I don't know, let's just throw out, again, we just mentioned Yummy. That was that zombie movie that Morris and I did. I know you haven't seen it. Do you just jump online and find a trailer just so you can kind of get a feel for, if you're not going to sit down and watch the movie, which is asking a lot?
Sometimes I can, like if I have the time, I will sit and watch the movie, because that's would ultimately be the best. But often there isn't that time. So I will watch probably I don't know, 3, 4, 5 different trailers, sometimes clips.
Just to get an idea.
Yeah. And then I just try to get into that vein.
That little mindset.
Yeah. Cause I mean, I just want to swipe it. I don't want, I mean, the point here is to just create an original piece that has the vibe of the content we're talking about, but not necessarily because you don't want to get sued for copyright. So,
no, and there was a few that, I mean, I guess the Suspiria one was really, I mean, look, all of them are great, but there's certain ones that stand out for me. Suspiria was one.
Here's the interesting thing on that one. So obviously, my coworker did the main piano piece for that.
Well, we can say her name, Jennifer.
She was on here. Yeah. So anyways, she actually played. So she's a very good piano player. So I'm not taking anything away from her at all. She's phenomenal. In fact, she's teaching me to play. Yeah. I mean, she's absolutely phenomenal. And this would come from her. If she were here right now, she would say the exact same thing. That Suspiria piece was incredibly fast.
Oh,
the whole piece is, it's incredibly fast. She tried to do it just like single takes, and just she'd almost get there, and then she would like fumble a note, and then she'd like go back and like she did that a number of times until she finally said screw it, and she like recorded it in a slower.
And then sped it out.
Yep. She sped it.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
It sounded
great. Now, you wouldn't know this. I knew something was off because when you do something like that, when you're in recording software and you bring it in, there is obvious tempo problems because the tempo natively on the track, or as it was written, and actually recorded is one thing, but the actual tempo that is set is a completely different thing.
So it gives it an airiness in a way.
Well, no, what it is it makes it difficult for anybody who's going to add to it.
Gotcha.
Right? Because what you essentially did was recorded it you set the speed on the the recording software to something super slow.
Yeah.
Recorded at that tempo, and then there's in properties, I think somewhere you can increase the tempo. So when you try to overlay on top of that, things aren't exactly jiving up. So I had to just bypass a metronome completely and just listen. Which is doable. I mean, there are some songs where you just ignore the metronome, and that's a thing, But it was just an interesting thing. I thought that you might get a kick out of hearing that.
Yeah. I mean, any music stand out for you, Morris?
Oh, geez.
Because most of them are really good.
That was really awesome. I did like the Nightmare Elm Street one.
Oh yeah.
Frick, I love that.
Yeah.
That was one where, so there are some movies that you cannot just create some kind of shit version that maybe is trying to act like it's, there are some that just have to. Halloween, Exorcist.
Yeah.
Another one that she helped significantly on. Yep. Nightmare on Elm Street. Even Poltergeist, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think Carrie, it's really stood out for me too, because I felt you captured that movie, like, the feel of that mid 70s, I'll tell you the one, and I told you this the last time I was over at your house.
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
No, I don't know if you will though. Night of the Creeps music, I thought it had that kind of alien space feel. It was perfect. That was only episode 2, and it just nailed it for me.
Yeah.
That one still resonates with me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It irritates me because I don't know what happened to my audio. Donovan's audio was fine and mine, and I wish there was a way for us to fix it, because I thought the episode was just great all around, but it's irritating, and it's just, it's like, it is what it is. We had to work out all the kinks. We just didn't know.
Yeah.
And we had to work that stuff out. And I mean, hell, we still have issues with audio sometimes.
So I thought you were going to mention like stuff like, this is Darren's orchestral phase.
Okay. Now that you brought it up, yes, there were about, I don't know how many episodes there were where everything was very yes. Did you explain it? You were going through, you were experimenting with some sounds and stuff, and was it a patch that you had gotten on?
I've got a lot of patches,
but I had noticed it was like a phase of I don't know how many movies.
Yeah,
they were all good, but I'm like,
well, okay, but now to be fair though, it just so happened, I think that it coincided that some of those movies, kind of back to back, like the actual movies had more orchestral scoring to it.
Yeah.
They kind of did. They had like the cello thing happening in the background, with
like a Tell of Two Sisters or something like that.
Yes, exactly. And there just happened to be a number of them. But what happened was, to I think what you were talking about, there were a number of patches that I had just purchased, and they were kind of like that, they were orchestral patches, or they were like, I think one was like these action strikes, patch. And I'm like, oh yeah, well, this totally lends itself to that. I'm going to experiment with this crap, and so, and I don't know, you get into a mode, it all sounded really cool. I mean, you can make some creepy ass sounds using cellos and
if you really think about it, look, I was giving you a hard time, but I was really just kidding. But there are a lot of movies that warrant that type of the Changeling, ghost stuff.
Oh yeah. Or what about Hereditary? Do you guys remember the Hereditary music that I did?
Yeah, totally.
Do you remember there was that thing was all wow.
Yeah.
That was a cello that I was simply using the tune wheel.
Oh yeah.
The pitch wheel to essentially but that was just a cello. I mean, just a regular, I think it was like, I forgot, like a British broad BBC orchestra patch that like nice. Those Brits use,
Well, nowadays with just technology and software as a whole, you can take, like you said, one little sound, let's call it a 10-second sound, and there's a million things you can do with it.
You could
to make it sound completely different than,
Absolutely. In recording music, and not even just for horror stuff, but if you were going to sit down and do an album, you can record all of the music pieces for all the songs, and you can master it one way, and you can take the identical song to the masters and apply different effects to it, and both songs, although compositionally are the same, don't sound anything.
It's limitless. Honestly, like, I mean, even when I've gone over and I've watched him do like, just, I don't know, whatever it is with some music, it bakes the noodle when you see like what you can do and just the adjustments and this and that. It's crazy, man. And I wish I could sit down and do some of that stuff. It just seems so overwhelming, and it's like,
So should this be the time that we tell the listeners that Dropping the Summer is the unused soundtrack for Ear for Fear from Darren on vinyl, cassette, and CD.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, Morris. We've talked about like getting it up on the website.
We have.
And it just requires me to take the time, which I don't have a lot of, but to build a separate page just for the music and put it out there so everyone can listen to. And it's something that it's on the back burner, but I would love to do that because they're hearing only 20, 30 seconds instead of the, say, 2 minutes that he's done.
10 to 15 seconds.
10 to 15.
We're close.
Yeah. No, I would say no. I would say 20 to 30, I think, is more accurate. I know it only seems like 10 seconds.
The older episodes were longer.
The older episodes were longer. But nowadays, I would say 20 to 30 seconds, I think, is probably accurate. I think,
Time it.
All right, I will from now on. But yeah, I do. I want to get that music on there, and so that that they can listen to it and really kind of get a feel for the amount of work that goes into it. It's involved with it. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's on my to-do list. Let's go a different route here. Let's talk about stuff like maybe some blooper stuff, mess ups that I don't think maybe the listeners are gonna know. I know a few things that I screwed up on. Okay, so let's do the episode. Because
you literally
Darren
just
has,
said a second ago.
Darren,
You know that?
Darren has look. Everyone says I will watch interviews with people on YouTube and they say a lot. And now if you're in the mood of the you catch it. Now, in the Wild Zero episode, that was an episode I had to scramble to do by myself. That was around the time Donovan felt it was time for him to kind of, not do the podcast anymore. So I had watched this crazy movie and I decided to do it on my own. And that was hard. I'll tell you, anyone who does episodes by themselves, I have to give it to them because it's hard to carry. I think it's a lot easier when I have you guys
to bounce off of,
man. When you're trying to do it on your own. And I was a little unorganized for that. My notes were all over the place. So that was partly me. But what the audience or the listeners need to know is Darren cut out. He's going to say 30 minutes of but it wasn't 30 minutes of ums. It was a lot of ums.
I'm just going to say
I said a lot and he edited out all the ums I
didn't cut all of them.
No, you left some.
It was at least 20 minutes.
And there's no way. I still call BS on that.
Yeah, you can. But here's the thing is I still have the original and then I still have.
Okay. So next time I come over, you show me the original and show me the other one. And then let's compare.
So many ums.
There was a lot of ums and I felt bad.
Was it like 75 to 100 ums?
Oh no, there had to have been more ums than that.
More than that.
Oh really?
Oh
yeah. We'll just refer to Wild Zero as the episode.
Because
there were a lot. And I was a little nervous because I haven't done an episode by myself. I wasn't as organized as I'd like to be. Not to mention, okay, that movie was weird. If I was sitting down and I was talking about Friday the 13th or whatever movie I've seen a ton of times and I don't need to look at notes and I could just talk, I could have done a better job. But that movie was fucking out there, man. I mean, it was out there. Aliens, zombies, rockabilly. It was fucking weird. Spaceships coming down. It was odd. And so I will say, I think if I went into it with a different movie, a movie I was more familiar with, I think it would have been better. Not as many.
It's an interesting thing that occurred with me when I was trying to edit out all those ums. Everybody, like to your point, everybody says on occasion.
They do.
Right? They do. So I had to artistically figure out when to keep an in and when to take an out.
I know.
So that it didn't sound sterile and somebody has just gone in and scrubbed.
And then just going through just nonstop.
So I had to figure out a way to sort of organically keep what you would consider a normal amount of
That's probably your most challenging episode to edit. Was that the most?
It was the most cuts. It was the most. Some of the earlier ones were difficult just because, again, lots of reverb challenges, lack of noise gates, stuff that we were doing at the time, and
true.
You had people out there mowing their lawn all of a sudden.
Oh my God.
Cars driving by.
I remember one episode we did where my next door neighbor, this was when I was at the other house, my next door neighbor, I think he had a moving truck or something and
scraped
the driveway. And I'm like, oh my God, that is so loud. I probably even apologized in the episode, or the one where I think in the same episode, he turned on his damn motorcycle and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And because stuff comes through.
Yeah. And then there was that episode that you ripped ass where I had to cut that out.
Yeah, that didn't happen. Yeah. There was which episode was it, Morris? Which episode was it where I had told you guys ahead of time to turn your cell phones on silent, and then mine was on.
Oh God!
It was an early episode.
It was probably 19 or 20.
Was it My Bloody Valentine or Hell Night? One of those.
Yeah.
And oh my God, I felt like a complete ass. I swore I put it on silent, and then it went off. I don't know.
I'll tell you. Another one I liked, probably mostly because I got to experiment with a bagpipe. what was that? Dog Soldiers.
Oh, Dog Soldiers. Yeah, that's a great movie.
Yeah. No, I like at some point after that, it was like quite a long ways after that. My Mac died.
Oh,
I had to get, yeah.
Oh no.
And I happened to have that patch like a dumbass on my desktop.
oh yeah.
Yeah, so I no longer have that.
Oh, you don't have the bagpipes anymore?
No.
Oh man.
I could probably go out and get it again, but I'd have to pay again because I can't even live for me remember like find the receipt or.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. We could talk about the you want to talk about the Creep Show episode, Morris?
So early on, when I would do episodes with Rick, he would always have me sitting in the master seat of actually clicking the.
I still do.
Yeah,
I still do. Because I like my spot, and I know I should be at that chair. But
So for anybody listening, really quick, I just want to throw this out here. I want to give you all a visual, and this has been the case for every single episode. Rick does not like the hot seat.
no, he doesn't.
will not sit in front of the computer where you have to actually run the show. You know, the place where you actually run the show.
And
he runs the show from across the way.
Yes, and it's his computer, so he knows it well.
Yeah.
So anybody that doesn't know his computer well,
Yes.
especially me more so than Darren, because I'm not as computer proficient. I was sitting in that seat. And I was asked to click the record button, which I did click it. I just didn't.
you didn't know it wasn't recording.
I didn't know it was recording.
So we did
So I'm going to tell you really quick before you launch into that thing. Okay, and let me explain what I believe possibly happened with Morris, where he said that he actually clicked it. Right?
Yeah.
Your mouse. You've got some kind of a driver conflict going on with your mouse.
I do.
It stutters and freezes.
Yes.
And
you're right.
when you have clicked the thing and it's in that stutter freeze mode, it won't actually do anything.
No, I know.
So he probably
That's probably
clicked
what
it.
happened. It is a driver issue with this tower. I notice sometimes it freezes up, and again, again on my list to get a new computer.
Oh crap, we're not recording.
So go ahead, Morris.
I'm a click it and I don't want to fuck with anything else or mess with anything else. So I clicked it and I got my hand off of it because I didn't want to mess with any other settings. Well, I guess I should have looked to see if it was actually counting down and recording, because at the end of the episode, which was rather a lengthy hour,
it was probably an hour and a half. Dude.
Hour and a half, yeah. And we talked about some good points, and it was the original Creep Show episode.
Yeah, that was the one that is long.
Yeah, it's the one that got away.
It went out into the universe somewhere, and so then.
But and then I'm like, I don't know, where's the file? It's come to find out, I didn't make sure that it was recording.
It was a bummer.
But in my defense, I'm not a computer proficient dude, and I didn't know what to look for.
There was no blame. It's just one of those fluke things that just happened. And it was a bummer, but it's all right.
Yeah.
It's all good. Cause then we took what I didn't want to do was after we did the episode and it was not there, I didn't want to like a couple months later do it again because I felt like I just talked about it. So we took a year.
That was a while.
It was a while.
Oh, yeah.
And then Darren and I did it. And then I think Morris and I have decided we'll do Creep Show 2.
Yeah.
Now that wasn't to get back at you.
Yeah.
That was just like I wanted to do Creep Show and I'm like,
Show. Yeah.
Well, hey, man,
and have at it too, because you know there's so many movies to talk about.
There's so many.
Creep Show 2, tell you right now, y'all can have that.
You're crazy.
No,
you're crazy.
That one sucked ass.
You're crazy.
Dude,
you're so crazy.
Yeah.
Dude,
Horrible.
Creep Show 2 is so good. Are you?
watch Creep. Are you sure you didn't watch Creep Show 3?
No, it was
No,
2.
he saw 2.
Yeah, it was 2.
with the raft.
The raft.
And
Yes.
Oh man.
Thanks for the ride, lady.
Dude, I saw
How
that.
did you not like Chief?
I saw that in the
Woodenhead?
movie theater.
So did I.
So
Chief. I mean, we don't have to go in the weeds on this. Okay, we don't. But I'm shocked you didn't like it. I really thought you would like it.
So
Dun, dun, dun.
I'll flesh this out if you'd like.
Not crazy flesh out,
I
but
get
a
it.
little
I
bit.
understand.
Yeah.
I understand. Because obviously we're not doing an episode right now of Creepshow 2. I suppose I can boil it down to the individual stories that they did have, because they had fewer than
Three.
They
They had three
where
instead
there
of
were
five.
Three in a
Yeah.
wraparound animation.
Yeah, which I think is great too.
I
by
didn't
the way.
like. Okay, first we're going to agree to disagree, guys.
Yeah.
That's fine with me. I don't care. I didn't like the animation. I did not like it. I thought it was childish. I did not like it. It didn't appeal to my art sensibility. I just didn't. Now the stories themselves.
Yeah.
In and of themselves, I didn't find the stories to be that bad. You know, it wasn't as though I had some issue with the stories. They seemed a little shorter, and they seemed a little, and then the fact that there were only 3 of them, it just seemed, you know, like before I even had a chance to even realize I was in the movie.
Yeah.
It was wrapping up, and it was just like, okay.
So,
You know, so I would say out of those 3, I think yeah, I mean, I think the first one,
Chief Wood,
is probably the one that's the.
Is that the full title? Is Chief Woodenhead
Chief
or no?
Woodenhead,
It's
yeah.
what's the full title of?
Oh, I don't
Shit,
know.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Anyways, Chief Woodenhead is. Maybe it wasn't the fact that you didn't like the actual stories. It's just you wanted more. Maybe
I just liked the style of the first one better.
Okay,
I liked how it was like the comic book,
Yeah, it's
right?
a comic book
Yeah.
frame.
And then comic book turns to reality.
I get it.
Okay, and I liked the creep show guy. You know,
the creep.
yeah, you know, when he's in the window.
Yeah.
You know, and the kid and that whole thing. I mean, I just liked all of that. I liked those scenes where it was like the blue and the red light, you know, with Leslie Nielsen.
I understand.
I just like, there was just a vibe.
Do you
there
feel
that
it was
missing.
more stylized?
Yeah.
Than the second one was more stylized.
The second one to me, you know, all that cartoon stuff to me just lost the vibe of the first.
See, and that's what's funny, man, because I get why.
It sounds like he has more of the issue with the animation.
more issue with the animation.
Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah.
And I want 2 more. I want 2 more stories.
Yeah.
Do you want 2 more stories?
Or whatever it is.
It's hard. I mean, because you know, you take Creepshow, and Creepshow is such a classic, and it's just a great movie, and then you do a sequel, and I mean, I could. It's if you don't never want to compare to the first one, but it's hard not to. It's because we're kind of programmed to do that, right? Like I don't. I always do that, and I don't mean to.
Oddly enough, there was supposed to be one more story, and that was, I don't know if you've ever seen Tales from the Dark Side, the movie.
Maybe.
Oh God, a long time ago.
So there's a hitman that's trying to kill a black cat.
Okay.
So that story was supposed to be
in Creepshow too.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't know if that would have made it better
and it's
for
a
you.
Stephen King
but
story,
the 3 stories were a little longer than the other 5 stories, so they were a little longer.
True. I
enjoyed them, and I enjoyed the animation because the animation, it seemed to be fitting for the movie for me, and I think that's why I like the movie so much, is because the animation really fits for me.
Well, you know, again, I mean, I'll go back to that nostalgia. You know, for like, I remember I was in 7th or 8th grade when I saw Creepshow, and I saw it in the movie theater and scared that friggin' shit out of me. Like, you know,
oh sure,
everything scared the shit out of me back
when you're
then,
that young. Yeah.
So, you know, so I definitely have a nostalgia for that. Whereas, you know, and when I watched it recently, wasn't the first time. I had actually seen it at some point in my 20s, I think.
Creepshow 2?
Creepshow 2.
Yeah. I saw Creepshow 2 in the movie theater when it came out, 88?
87.
87?
Yeah.
I think I was living in Reno at the time, so I'd go to the movies by myself, and I remember seeing that. I remember the theater I saw it in, and I'm like, and I just really liked it, and it's a nostalgia thing. So 87, I was maybe 15 or something.
I was a senior in high school,
so
but I remember driving to the theater with my cousins to go see that.
So you know, there's only one Creepshow episode, but there was another one out there somewhere.
It's floating around. It's in orbit right now.
Yeah,
it's probably halfway
in the
to
Matrix
Mars.
somewhere. You know that
some aliens are up there. They tune in because it's finally gotten to them, and they're like, "Ooh, what the fuck is this shit?
What the hell is this?"
Yeah.
There was one episode. Oh man, I feel bad to this day. The Blob episode, and I kept saying, I know the actress's name is Shawnee Smith.
Mm-hmm.
I kept saying, I think Tawny. And I'm like, and I didn't catch it
because you're thinking of Tawny Katane.
I was, and I felt we caught it like almost all the way through the episode, and I feel bad to this day that I did that. I knew what her name was
because they're both women from the 80s.
They are, they are, and so,
similar names.
So so that one sticks out with me. Recently with Child's Play, when I did with my nephew Jason, he was telling a story, and I heard Jungle. He said Jungle Book, but I heard Jungle Cruise. And I was, because I mentioned The Rock being in a movie. And I
actually like that movie. That was pretty
Which
cool.
one? Jungle Cruise? I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
It's actually really entertaining.
So yeah, I felt like an idiot afterwards going, oh, damn it. But we're all human and we all make mistakes. But those were the things that stood out for me that I screwed up on. Honestly, you guys, I think I probably screwed up the most. But it's okay.
No, you know what? For me, I just have a shit memory when it comes to
that's me.
Actors' names and directors. I just those things just escape. It doesn't matter how hard I rehearse.
Yeah,
it just doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it's my capacity to remember that information is long gone.
I can tell you for me, as I've gotten older, it's bad. It's really bad. And I should know the name and I just don't.
Yeah.
And I think partly is the work I do. I have to know so much stuff that a lot of that information has pushed out other stuff.
It's like one appraisal in, one horror movie.
Yeah. It's like, I got a death cert I got to review. Yeah. It's like, what's that actor's name and such? Now, Morris, on the other hand, he knows their children and when they were their birthdays and their grandparents and where they grew up. And I don't know how he remembers.
The older I get, the more I am forgetting the stuff, though. But yeah, I mean, I do know a lot of senseless bullshit.
You do know a lot of senseless shit. Now it's great when it comes into the fact that we're doing an episode on a movie and you can somehow utilize. That's awesome. Then some of the other shit he comes up with, it's like he'll remember. Like I'm okay sometimes with years, and I always try to like, okay, I saw this. And I was living here. Okay, so I think it was 86, 87 or something like that. That's how I'll remember stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm usually within a year or so. Mm-hmm. That's the best I can do anymore. Him, on the other hand, I'm like, hey, what? I was just talking with you about something. I'm like, it was yesterday at lunch. Mm-hmm. I think I was writing down Evil Dead on a piece of paper. And I'm like, what was that? 80, 81 or something?
Like 81.
81. And it's like, shit,
Or like another example too, that has occurred. I mean, fortunately, I don't believe it's occurred a lot, trying to remember exactly what scene came before what scene, right?
Darren, yes, dude, I give up on that. I can't do it.
It happens
unless
on
it's
occasion.
a movie we've seen a million times.
Sure.
But dude, if we watch a movie once, oh hell no.
Yeah, and I definitely stumbled, on a number of those, and it was the stumbling was in the timeline, the sequence of events. And that's just
I've had that happen to me.
That's age, dude. Oh, for sure. I mean, too, like I said, if we had seen a movie, let's say we see a movie 3 times. Well, yeah, we're going to totally know I can talk
sequence. All about it. If we watch one sequence
one time, dude, I will, before, like, say you guys come over on a Saturday, I will watch a movie a couple hours before you come over. And I still can't remember the damn sequence.
Especially if it's a new movie.
But like Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah. I could tell you the exact timeline of that.
Absolutely, dude. Yeah. Halloween, Friday the 13th. I could tell you all these different things. But yeah, I mean, watching a movie one time. I did an episode with a guy in England. I think he's in England. Phil. He has a podcast called Insidicast, and he recommended this movie called Possum. And I saw it one time and it was definitely out there. I found when we were talking about it, I kept messing up on where stuff was, what happened in which sequence. And then
I believe you also told me though, that movie was inherently difficult to.
It was tough because I had my own kind of opinion on what I think was happening, but I was probably way off. Like we all can interpret these movies. Like if we're watching a slasher, there's nothing to interpret.
No.
It's someone going around killing usually women,
Right.
and some guys too. But when we're seeing these, you know, the Dark and the Wicked or the Hereditaries or
the one we just saw, Incident in a Ghostland.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Not X, but Incident in a Ghostland. We're trying to interpret these things, and maybe we're right on the money, or maybe there is no interpretation. It's however you think it is. The director just wants you to enjoy it. I don't know. And so, Possum was definitely out there. It's like I didn't enjoy the movie, but watching it one time, that required 2 or 3 time watching before I did an episode.
Knowing that Darren likes high tension a lot. Have you seen Incident in a Ghostland yet?
I've not.
I think he would like that.
You think so?
There's some similar themes.
Mm-hmm.
He might
and
like
it's
it.
done by a French director, so it's
French. Yeah.
Subtitled?
No, it's all in English.
It's all in English.
Okay.
Like the director's French, but it was like in English.
It does have French sensibilities, but it's supposed to take place in the United States.
I don't know if you like. You might like it. I'm not positive, but yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's all the bloopers I can think of that I'm sure I screwed up other stuff as well.
I think I've done some coughing, like real coughing. I know during this podcast, I've done some joking coughing.
Yeah. You know, that's a hard thing because like, for me, there's a part of me that doesn't want to sterilize the shit out of everything on an episode. Like there's something that's kind of real about keeping in some mouth clicks and some,
sure.
You have Rick's ass ripping, which he does all the time.
I never do.
Chili.
Whatever. I'd never do that during the episode.
Did you have some like fish burritos or something?
No, that was not me. Whatever. No, I agree though. I love that because again, we're human, so we make mistakes every single day, and so I don't mind that it's sometimes I kick myself. I'm like, damn it, but then it's like, well, shit. I'm not perfect, man. None of us are perfect. And so, the cell phone going off when I've completely, lectured them on turning their phones off. I thought that was, it's just little stuff like that.
That's hilarious.
We mess up names. We mess up. We just do. It's just the way it is. I mean, so, that's all the ones I can think of. I'm trying to think, before we forget, I want to thank all the people that have come on the episodes. I mean, this will be 75. We've had Jake's been on a few. We've had Jennifer come on. We've had Shaylee come on. My nephew Jason came on. Micah came on for the Aliens episode. And, Donovan wasn't really a guest, but Donovan was on a lot earlier on. So, and
I'm sure we'll have some more on.
I think we are going to have some more on. I think I'm not going to give anything away, but I think we'll have a few new guests on some future episodes coming on.
And you're talking about maybe some possible changing things up a bit.
Changing stuff up, maybe the format a little bit. I don't think we haven't figured that out 100% yet, but we've talked about it, and it'll only be good things moving forward.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe down the road I keep digging my heels in is doing video. I want to do video. We do.
Yeah.
I just think it's coming eventually. It's just a little more work than I think I can handle at the moment. I guess if that makes sense,
No, for sure.
So
you still have to.
It'll be something. Yeah. So
you have to manage your day job.
Exactly.
And no one here is doing podcasts for a living or anything.
No. This is definitely, it's been great. It's, it's awesome. I guess I could call it my hobby. I enjoy doing it, and I get to do it with my 2 best friends. So how fucking cool is that?
So, over the last couple of podcasts, you've taken over the editing. I've had things come up, but I just can't. I just can't right now. How was that process for you?
Honestly, it hasn't been too bad. Hasn't been too bad. Now, of course, I got all the notes that I took while you were showing me.
Yeah.
And I still have to. This is the thing with me. If I don't do something every single day, I forget.
It's hard to retain. Yeah.
And the thing is with these episodes, I'll edit one. I'll edit 2 at once, like I did.
Yeah.
I edited. Let's see, Leviathan and Incident in a Ghostland. I did them together because I'm like, well, I got one and I felt good about it.
Yeah.
And then I did the other one. I'm like, I feel good about it. But that was weeks ago. And so luckily I have my notes.
Sure.
So when I go to edit this one, it'll have some challenges, but nothing that I don't think is that I can't handle.
Yeah.
Now, if I, so that's been going good. I'm still going to leave the music up to you. So you can do your thing. And then again, at some point, if we do the video, it's just I know it can be done because people do it all the time. It's just figuring out the nuances of video. I'm sure there's going to be some obstacles like there was when we started this, but eventually I think that's where it's going with us. I don't know if people want to see our ugly faces, more so me. I think it would give them a peek into, what we do when we do this. And, that it's like something so different. I'm sure they see, anyone that probably listens to us, probably listen to other podcasts that might have video.
Do they can you put out a poll on say Instagram or on?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I think you should.
Maybe we do.
Yeah.
Maybe we do and see what people think. Because I know there's podcasts that I listen to, like Mark Maron, for instance. He doesn't do video. He just has like stills. And there's some other ones that I listen to that don't have video. And I'm okay with that. But I know there are some out there that do have video.
Yeah.
I think it's just a normal, probably kind of a, like I keep saying, as we're evolving, right? I mean, we're still fairly new to this thing, and 2 years in, we're still learning stuff.
Yeah.
We're still editing and tweaking stuff. I mean, I think like with anything, you don't ever want to become, I don't know, boring or complacent or just set in your ways. And as these two guys know, I'm super set in my ways.
Yeah.
30 years of knowing me, they know how I am. And I do at times.
Grandpa.
I do, whatever. I do dig my heels in on stuff, and I hate change, and I'm a creature of habit, but sometimes you got to change stuff up. And I think that's what we'll eventually do,
Got to do it.
Got to do it,
Yep.
I'm trying to think anything else. Oh, I know Sinister Creature Con is coming up in June.
Yeah.
And we'll be out there. So if anyone is listening to us and is local,
especially in the Northern California,
come on out. And if you see us, say hi. I mean, I don't think we're going to do a booth this year. I know we've talked about it. Something we need to talk about.
Did you do a booth ever?
We haven't done a booth, and we've talked about doing a booth. So I know it's a couple months up.
I think that when I thought, if I remember right, when you were wanting to do that booth thing, they didn't call you back. Something was like, it's because when such and such hit, I'm not going to say the word, but nobody says a C word.
I don't want to see the C word because I don't want to get somehow banned off of a certain platform. But when we were thinking about doing it, and then that hit, and then they canceled everything. I would love for us to do a booth. That way we can kind of engage with whoever. I think it'd be awesome. Maybe I think there's going to be 2 this year. Maybe something we talk about. Talk about doing. Not in the June one, but in June. What is it, Morris? Mid-June?
October. June.
The mid-June one is
15.
So maybe October one we think about doing.
Yeah.
But anyways, but yeah, if you see us, say hi. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely reach out.
Yeah, reach out to us. Anything else you guys want to talk about before we wrap this thing up? I mean, I'll just say I've had a blast the last 2+ years. It's been fun. I get to talk with you guys, which is fucking awesome.
I think we're compiling a great list of movies to talk about in the next couple months.
Yeah. I think we're taking a little bit of a break.
Yeah, I was going to say, you want to maybe let them know, like,
we are taking a little bit of a hiatus, nothing too long, but something just I'm not sure how long we're going to take, but could be a month and a half or something like that, where we can start working on some other stuff for the podcast. And that might become more of a regular thing. We'll do so many episodes and maybe take a little bit of a break and recharge and come up with some new fresh ideas and stuff like that.
Throwing around the idea of maybe a Patreon if people are interested in that sort of thing. Yeah,
that might be something that we, again, like what Darren was saying with putting something out on Instagram. What are people's thoughts? I'm always willing to. I love listening to what other people think.
Yeah,
and,
definitely poll.
Because it's something we've thought about. And then I know this is going to sound bad, but it's like, then I think, well, look, I think what we do is pretty cool, but will people pay for it? Listen to us? And I think about that. I'm like, am I cool? Do we sound cool enough? Do we have enough good things to say for you to pay a few bucks a month to get some maybe additional content that isn't available to the rest of the people? That's a question. Yeah. I mean, seriously. And I've thought about it, and I don't know the answer to that. And maybe we pose that question to our listeners or our followers on, whatever.
Yeah.
YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Mm-hmm. So that's how I look at it. I know it's kind of a weird way of looking at things, but that's how I am.
Yeah.
One movie I've floated.
Yes. Oh my God. This is going to be the Big Trouble in Little China, isn't it?
Yes, it is. That shit would be the bomb.
That's not a horror movie.
You could argue that there are horror components to it. You should put that on a poll.
That
poll the audience.
We could put a poll out there. Okay, we've had this discussion. Is Terminator a horror movie?
I say yes.
I say Terminator almost plays like a slasher.
I say it's a slasher.
It's sci-fi horror.
Sci-fi. Yeah, it's a horror.
Absolutely.
It's tough with Big Trouble in Little China. Look, you're not, dude. I love Big Trouble in Little China. It's one of my favorite movies. I just am trying
monsters in that movie.
Know. I think what I do. This is so stupid, but I hop on IMDb and I look at Big Trouble in Little China, and then it says comedy and I don't know, whatever it says, action. And if it doesn't say the word horror, I'm like, I can't do it because IMDb doesn't have it as such.
So I would say you're beholden to the man is what you're telling us.
Yes, I am. I know. Maybe we'll put a poll out there. We'll put a poll and see what people say.
It's definitely a sci-fi fantasy kung fu action.
And it's got the kung fu element, which I'm always down for. Would you say, though, it's
But there are monsters in it.
There are monsters
in horror
it.
Elements to it. But if you say that, some people say that Hocus Pocus, the children's, is a horror movie.
True.
But it's got horror elements. Some people say that Nightmare Before Christmas, being a kid's movie, is a horror movie. I disagree. I say it's got horror elements, but it's not a horror movie.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm definitely still on the fence.
Why can't it be horror adjacent? Why can't we?
Darren brought this up in a thing, and I actually love that word, horror adjacent.
It'll open up a whole slew of things, and we're not saying we're doing it all the time, but
it's kind of like like you have a lease, right? And then you lease that lease down. It's a sublease, but it's still kind of like that's what Big Trouble in Little China is. It's like it's kind of in the area.
Horror adjacent.
Horror adjacent. I'm writing that down. That sounds like a good shirt, man.
I'm horror adjacent.
We'll continue to talk about that one. Maybe it becomes an episode where it's not. Maybe it's like a Patreon episode. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe we can still talk about it. Anything else?
But that would be cool to do Terminator. That would
Terminator, though. I mean, I think it plays like a horror movie.
I do too.
Not part two, not the second one.
No,
but the first one absolutely plays like a horror movie.
Yeah.
That would be kind of cool to do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anything else, you guys? Anything else that we haven't, I don't know, chatted about, build people in on?
Yeah. I'm
trying to think anything that I think we kind of talked about. I don't know, everything we wanted to talk about.
I think so.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, that was it. Yeah, that's the 75th episode. A retrospective
in the books.
In the books. Here's to another 75 more. Doing some awesome episodes with you guys. Creeping it real. We're trying to think of something. Something a little goofy. But anyways, that's that. That's all. That's all we got.
Yeah.
Everyone, thanks for tuning in. Who's tuned in for a lot of episodes. We hope you continue to listen. We will continue to put out the best episodes possible. And I think that's all.
And we'll limit our ums.
And what was that?
We'll limit our ums.
That was me. Shut up. Yes, we will. We will. If I ever decide to try to tackle another solo episode, which I'll be more prepared and I'll say less ums. So anyways, that's all. Everyone, thanks again for listening and take care.
Take care.
You listened all the way to the end. We appreciate that. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Ear for Fear Podcast, Twitter at Ear for Fear, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Ear for Fear Podcast. You can also check out our website, earforfear.com. There we list news and events. We're available on all the main platforms, so make sure you tell a friend. We hope you come back and get an earful.